The following program is being brought to you on the Voice America Business Channel. For more information about our network and to check our additional show hosts and topics of interest, please visit voiceamericabusiness.com. The Voice America Talk Radio Network is the worldwide leader in live Internet talk radio. Visit voiceamerica.com. The views and ideas expressed on the following program are strictly those of the host or guests and do not necessarily reflect the views and ideas held by the Voice America Talk Radio Network, its staff, and management.
Forbes magazine recently reported that there were 1,210 billionaires in the U.S. collectively. They were worth over $4.5 trillion. America continues to be the world's largest economy and boasts the lion's share of this ultra-rich class of people. In spite of this fact, an estimated 46.2 million people in America are living in poverty today. Where are we going wrong, and what can we do about it? Welcome to Wealth Solutions for the 99% with your host, Paul LaJoy. Let us show you some of the strategies that will set you on the path to building personal wealth. These are proven strategies that are working for others and can work for you, too. Now, here is your host, Paul LaJoy.
Welcome to the show this morning. Welcome to Wealth Solutions for the 99%. I hope you are doing well. It's a wonderful day here in California. I don't know about where you are, which part of the world you are at. But, okay, cool. So we have a great show here today lined up for you, and I'm looking forward to having you. So we have some great associates today that are going to join us, some real estate professionals who are killing it in real estate, right? So guess what? You probably know what happened in 2008. The market crashed, right? The real estate market crashed. And with it crashed, a lot of people, a lot of real estate agents. I understand there are like 1 million real estate agents in America. Half of those are in California. A lot of them left the industry. I know a friend of mine who acted as a broker. She went and started painting people's houses. What kind of living can you make painting houses? You know what I mean? And then how many houses can you paint in a month or in a week? You know. But anyways, you see, that was the time that, why the market is crashing. I remember going to some places in Central Valley, and you had every house and every street was for sale. Everything was on sale. America was on sale at the time. That was the best time to buy real estate. But what were people doing? They were leaving the industry, going to work at McDonald's and stuff, My goodness, I just wish I had that experience before. That was my first experience of a downturn in America. I just wish I had an experience like that before. I would have taken advantage of that market because that's when everybody was selling. So guess what? You could get properties for pennies on the dollar, But what happened? As a trend, everybody was selling, everybody was dumping. What were people doing? Instead of buying and scooping up those properties, what were they doing? They were also dumping. Really, if you want to make success in anything, you have to go against the trends, right? So like people are heading this way, the crowd is heading this direction, you have to head the opposite direction. So investors are the ones that took the economy back to where it is today. And they were the investors, the people that could have taken the economy back to where it's supposed to be in 2008. So today we're going to talk to you about how you as a real estate agent, or someone who is a real estate agent, and right now maybe they're striving. Basically that they're trying to make ends meet. A lot of them who went back into different jobs and they couldn't find jobs, and they were sweeping floors or, flipping burgers and stuff like that. It's about time they came back to the fold. And today I have some colleagues of mine who've been in the industry for some time, and they're going to share with you how they're making a killing right now. They're making a killing. But before we do that, I sent you guys an email today, and the topic of the email was that you cannot expect victory and plan for defeat. You cannot expect victory and plan for defeat. That's Joel Osteen. A lot of you watch him on television. Man, this guy is in Texas over there, and it's like thousands, millions of people, attend his show, his television show, and this guy is just inspiring people. But guess what? You cannot expect victory and plan for defeat. How's that? You cannot expect victory and plan for defeat. So you have to expect victory and plan for victory. Plan for victory. And today we're going to have two guys who are really doing that, exhibiting that, planning for victory and expecting victory. They're expecting victory and getting victory. So Ro and Basil are going to join me today. So I understand, my engineer tells me that Ro is already on the phone. Ro, are you on the line today? Hello, Ro.
How are you?
I'm fine, Ro. How about yourself?
I'm doing well, just getting ready for an open house, but going to do this interview prior.
Oh, that's great. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me this morning. Ro, that's just interesting. So you're going to an open house right now?
I actually have two open houses today. And the third one is just a co-listing with another agent, and I'm going to be actually representing one of them myself.
2 open houses. My goodness. Okay, that's great. Ro, how long have you been in this industry?
It's part-time. I've kind of been in the industry since I was 10 years old, right? Because my father and mother were in real estate part-time, and then they got in full-time, and then I was in corporate America and always looking to get into real estate, and I've been fully vested for myself probably 2 years now, and I've been with Pacific Realty Partners and yourself.
So that's interesting. So basically, you've been in the industry because your parents have been in the industry. Tell us a little bit about that background. So I remember one time you go ahead.
It's funny, definitely. So when we were growing up, it definitely, when I would go to my interviews in, getting jobs in corporate America, as you know, my background's in the medical sales industry and marketing, I would tell, they would say, tell us some competitive advantage about why we should hire you. So I would tell them that, the work ethic came from a very young age. So when kids were playing, outside after school, my dad would pick me up from, let's just say 5th grade, auctions, and he'd buy properties with my uncles. And, instead of going outside and playing, we would be put to do our homework outside of where they were doing the rehabbing and construction. And I'm talking about 1989, 1990, 91. And then we would go and help them out afterwards. So and then we would get home around 8, 9 o'clock. So as a kid, we would see what was going on. I would go to auctions with my dad. I would meet his real estate agents. I would see his contractors. And I saw how they were making money. And this was in the 90s. They were, buying houses for $70,000, $80,000, $90,000. A year later, flipping them for, $200,000, $300,000 in San Jose.
Wow. Okay. I was reading yesterday that geniuses are not born. Geniuses are made. Right? So basically, you talk of people like Johannes Sebastian Bach and this guy, Tiger Woods, and all. These people were not just born geniuses. Very few people are born geniuses. People really work hard for this. Like this guy started practicing golf when he was 3 years old. Michael Jackson became who he was, not because he was born a genius per se, but because his dad, from the day he was young, basically he identified him as some guy who has potential talent and made sure that he actually fully exhibited those talents. And it sounds like that's how you became who you are today.
I definitely agree. Our parents came here from India, with $6 in their hand in the 70s, and they've embedded in us that you have an opportunity that we've given you. We've left our motherland, and we open the doors for you to get an education. And while you're here, my dad always says he's really big on values, right, and hard work. And he says, you take in what the Western country has given you, and don't just sleep here. You work hard and go to the best schools and get the best jobs and network with the, good guys. And, one of the things growing up they told us is, you are who you keep yourself around, right? And we hear, myself at Pacific Realty, I keep myself around guys like yourself, Paul, Basil, and other associates and other investors and developers that have a mindset of winning, right? When you have that mindset, you are going to win. When you have told yourself already that you're going to win, you're almost halfway there.
Let's talk about your parents. You said your parents came to America with $6 in your pocket. Really?
Yeah. So my father and mother had an arranged marriage.
Yes.
My father actually lost his father when he was 13. My grandmother was uneducated. He was the youngest out of his whole family, and he lived in a village, very poor. He used to go outside to a university, got a scholarship, and when it was time, in India, they do arranged marriages. So he put himself in that newspaper. His older brother helped him get married, and my mom.
Okay, let's take a break. We're going to take a quick break. We lost our guest, so he's going to call back. He has an interesting story, very interesting story. So we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to continue with that fascinating story. We say it's impossible to be poor in America. It just takes a dream and all those things. So we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back.
Be sure to friend us on Facebook. You can do it right now. Visit facebook.com/Voice America or search for us at keyword Voice America.
Dialogue is the single most powerful leadership tool we have to make a difference in the world. Leading Conversations with host Cheryl Esposito creates a place for that dialogue. Tune into the Voice America Business Channel every Friday as Cheryl hosts new conversations among leaders from around the world in business, government, art, economics, and social change. We'll explore big ideas and everyday actions and learn how their own leadership has led them to discover a newfound sense of possibility in the world. Leading Conversations with Cheryl Esposito, bringing big thinkers together in conversations that make a difference, right here on the Voice America Business Channel every Friday morning at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Costa, host of the Costa Report every Tuesday at 6 a.m. and again at 6 p.m. This week, my guest is outspoken former congressman and one of our country's most prominent gay public figures, Mr. Barney Frank. He'll be with us to talk about the Supreme Court's ruling on DOMA and how the Obama presidency is doing in its second term. Don't miss Barney Frank this Tuesday at 6 a.m. and again at 6 p.m. on the Voice America Business Channel.
What's going on behind the scenes with your favorite Voice America show or host? For the latest news, visit the iRadio blog at iradioblog.com.
You are tuned in to Wealth Solutions for the 99% with Paul LaJoy. We'd love to hear from you on today's program. Please call in to 1-888-346-9141. That's 1-888-346-9141. Or email us at lajoysolutions@gmail.com. Now, back to Wealth Solutions for the 99%.
Welcome back to the show. And if you want to call in 1-888-846-9141, or you can call 866-472-5790. So before the break, we're talking about a fascinating story. Ro was telling us about his family, and then got cut off a little bit, so we're back again with Ro. So we're going to continue with Ro. So, Ro, you were saying your parents came with $6 in their pocket. Talk about arranged marriage, and of course, I remember one time you told me that they became they're both working at the post office, and they bought their first property. Continue with your story. Let's hear it from you.
Yeah, so they started, back in the 80s when my uncles helped. My mom's brother was here. He was one of the first ones in America. So they came in the 70s, but they purchased their first home in about 84. And if you know, that time interest rates were 11, 12%, right? And so my uncle helped them out a little bit, and then my dad saw the advantages, the tax advantages, and the 1031 exchange and whatnot in real estate, and he started to kind of dabble in, and he started getting money from, saving money on the side, buying another house, and then he just saw the appreciation, and they've seen success, and they've seen some areas like in 2006, 2007 that everybody was buying. They had some losses in their portfolio as well, but growing up we saw this, and one thing that, they said is that you have to be focused. You have to have your goals in line. Another part of big is that they said that you have to save, a lot of money to get into where you want to be financially, right? You can not just make money. Anybody can make, $500,000, $600,000, $1 million, $2 million. But if you're spending that kind of money, then you're not really building financial wealth. So that was something he embedded in us as his children to make sure that we have over here.
So Basil, okay, so thanks, Ro. Basil, we've just been talking about Ro's background, his parents moving here from India and very little money in their pocket, and all of a sudden they saw real estate as a tool to create wealth. So let's talk about your background too, Basil. You also, your parents came here from somewhere, right?
Correct. Back in 1999, we had came here from Saudi Arabia. My dad at that time had lost a lot of money in a business partnership back in Saudi Arabia. And at that time, we knew that it was time to go. So we had family over here, which was the reason why we also came here trying to get a fresh start. And as pretty much everybody's story who has not been born with a golden spoon in their mouth, the first couple of years was extremely, extremely hard. We had to struggle just like everybody else did. And finally, we landed in the restaurant business in San Francisco. I think that was the turning point for my family, because that was something that pretty much we were forced into but did not want to, if you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. So, my dad took over a restaurant in San Francisco, and then immediately within a couple of months, we knew that this is not something for us. Restaurant business is not an easy business to be in. It really takes commitment and probably 100%, 110% attention in order to run a successful restaurant. So at least for me, that was really the turning point, because I wanted to get out of that business. I was helping my dad. I was in school in the morning. As a matter of fact, I used to go to the restaurant in the morning around 5 a.m. and then go to school and then go back to the restaurant for closing. So it was a couple of years were very, very tough. And then that's when I landed into real estate, and this was back in end of 2006 when the market was still okay. When I saw these little high school kids, I was also in high school, just beginning into college. I was looking at these kids driving all these high-end cars, so I wanted to check out what it was. Lo and behold, I found out it was real estate. That's when I jumped in, and then the market crashed. So, and then I guess the rest is history.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool. So both of you have your history there. Ro, basically, with his parents, starting in real estate, and basically your parents started in restaurant business. So, Ro, when did you start real estate? Basil said he started real estate in 2006, So when did you start real estate? And is it because your parents that you decided to go into real estate yourself?
Yeah, so I was, like I mentioned to you, corporate America, looking for an exit, and we were friends, and I would say somewhere around 2011. There's no, I can tell you the year was 2011, but the day and time and the month I don't have to exact, because I was always coming in and out of the office, and then I kind of ventured out on my own a year and a half ago, fully, leaving my corporate job.
Right, interesting. So Basil, you were saying that you're into cars, and you were a teenager at the time, high school, and basically decided to go into real estate because you were attracted to cars. And then, of course, what happened? Did you make a lot of money in 2006 when you joined?
You know what? No, not really. I did not see the high time more than probably 2 to 3 months. I did do some good deals at that time. However, that was the very end of 2006, and then immediately, as you know, in the beginning of 2007, everything crashed. And I do consider myself lucky and blessed that that's the time when I actually got into real estate, because I learned the hard way. I did not have a mentor. I did not have anybody telling me what to do. I did not have a teacher showing me the ropes. I learned everything the hard way. Everything was trial and error. I made a lot of mistakes, which I definitely learned from. And then again, I feel blessed because I was able to catch the wave back up.
Right, that's interesting. So, Ro, did you learn the hard way, or you came in when everything started going up?
Well, I would have to say that I came in at a market where the market was still down but picking up. It was different challenges. When I came in, I did not come in as a full agent. I came in more on the investor side for the development of revitalization of the rehabbing. And that time, as you know, Paul, you had kind of started this whole new gig inside the brokerage, and that's what really attracted me. So I learned, quite honestly, prior, in the earlier years when I told you when I was going to the trustee sales and seeing not so much the financials, but the hardship of how to make a property, put it on the market, make it beautiful. Numbers-wise, I came in, I think, at a good time, but I still kept in my back of my mind, and we still do today. I work a lot with Bossel. He's one of my top partners, and we always talk about the 2007, 2008, 2009 days. And as you know, we are exchanging emails the other night about looking at economic factors, and I think the experience we can take is that history repeats itself, and with technology these days, we have everything in the source of our hands not to make the mistakes that people made in 07 and 08.
Yes, interesting. So let's talk about what you get. First of all, let's give a scenario of what's happening in the real estate industry right now. Obviously, the market's gone back. What do you think is the reason why this market has rebounded?
Well, obviously, first of all, look at the job market, right? Job market in Silicon Valley has boomed like no other industry. I have a cousin who left the Bay Area, I believe, 2.5, 3 years ago, at the bottom of the market. Went to live in Texas, couldn't get along. Went to Florida, and now he's in Florida. He's not 100% happy, but he is in Florida. He just came back last week for some business purposes. And he slept over at our house. I believe this was Monday night, and then Tuesday morning he had to be at work, which was in Santa Clara, at 8 o'clock in the morning. So he was telling me that, oh, okay, you know what? I'll wake up at 7 o'clock and I'll leave at 7:30. I said, no, you got to wake up at 6 o'clock and probably leave at 6:45 to 7 o'clock if you want to get there at 8 o'clock. So this was not the case about 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago.
Yes.
So I think, job market, just the traffic on 880 can tell you that, right? Job market has boomed. And then obviously plus all these IPO that's happening, which is not including Facebook, Twitter is going IPO, FireEye just went IPO. So all these multimillionaires that are being made daily here in Bay Area, I think that is the biggest factor contributing to this, especially in California.
Oh, good. We have a caller on the line. So Alex, I understand Alex is on the line, so we can have Alex. Okay, you have a question, Alex?
No, I'm just listening in.
Oh, okay, interesting. All right, cool, just listening. That's great. All right, cool, let's go on. So basically, the job market has improved because I see like the traffic lights, over there, the carpool lane is like, now it's no longer at 9 o'clock, it's 10 o'clock. That's interesting. All right, so basically, Basil, when did you start investing?
So back in 2007 and 8, as you know, we were just strictly doing the brokerage side, trying to still get a hang of the changing market. I think 2009 is the beginning of the first deal that I actually bought in Tracy. And surprisingly, I bought that. It was a short sale, and I still remember I bought that property for, I think, $235. I never saw the property. I just bought it till today I have never seen the property. I just bought it on instinct because it was only a couple of years old. And in my mind, I was thinking, you know what, I cannot go wrong with this. And if you remember back then, the deals were not big spread deals. So I believe we bought it for $235 and sold it a month and a half later after just painting the home for $275, and we were like, wow, after commissions and expenses, we made like $27,000 and some change. We were like, wow, this could be better. And as if you remember, I sent you that email a couple of years ago that average agent in America only makes $33,000 a year.
Right.
So that really gave me the idea, and of course, following what you were also doing at that time is investments. That is the end game.
So, Ro, you started in 2011. You came back in 2011. Basically, your parents were buying apartments in Sacramento and places like that and holding on to them. But you started full swing in 2011. And how much did you invest, Ro?
I started with, I had my own savings. I think we put in $43,000 in my first property, and then another, $75,000 was in another property. And it was a lot of savings that what came from, the past 4 or 5 years of being in corporate America. And I wanted to put it into something that, I did stocks in the past, and I just didn't they didn't leave me with a good taste in my mouth because you're essentially not in control. It's almost like going to Vegas and putting your money all on red, right? You're gambling with your money. I believe so. And so that's what we started off with, and I saw the advantages of taking a property, kind of tearing it apart, doing your homework, looking at the comps and analyzing a deal and putting the financing into place, and how you can really build upside to the property.
That's good. So how do you guys find properties? Because we're talking about agents as investors. We want all those listeners today, especially agents. This show is mainly designed for agents who are struggling. As you know, there are 1 million agents in America, or there used to be 1 million agents in America. A lot of them working part-time, and a lot of them left the industry when going was going very tough. And even today, a lot of them working part-time, a lot of them working for big names like, I don't want to name the names here, but big brand names, national names. But then guess what? And from time to time, you do get an email from these big companies asking you to join them, right? But guess what? Right. And the agents in those companies, you ask them, say, how much do you make? I was surprised the other day, someone at a big name here in Fremont telling me they made $20,000 for the entire 2012. This is appalling. Right? So how about you guys? We want those agents today who are listening, of course we want to share our knowledge with them, because I believe in this when Kennedy says, don't ask what my country can do for me, but what can I do for my country? And that's one of the reasons why I'm having this show. So we want to share whatever works for us, because the market is pretty big. What we're targeting is not what they are targeting. So I want you guys to share what has contributed to your success. What has contributed to your success?
I would have to say that, and Boswell can kind of agree with me here, is that one thing you cannot take away from someone, and one thing that will measure your success is hard work, dedication. You have to be committed in this business. If you're working this business part-time, I'm a prime example of why I'm in this full-time, right? You can't have 1 foot in, outside and 1 foot in. You need to really focus. You have to have a good understanding. You have to have a stomach. If you have a stomach to make money, you can say, okay, I can lose money, but you don't want to lose money either. And you have to be able to build relationships in this business, and people have to believe in you. And, integrity is something huge. And we live by those rules, right? You treat people the way you want to be treated, and other agents are going to come work with you. The typical agent that I talk to, and you would be surprised. I have agents. I have my license. I have agents who work for me. So I tell them, go find me deals. I'll fund your deals for you. And this week I funded 2 deals that other agents, are bringing. And they've been bringing me properties all the time. And so I tell them that I will help you make a living for yourself, but you have to help yourself. Now, if I tell you I can, I will do this deal on paper for you, and I'll close this. But if you don't wake up in the morning and you don't go on the MLS and you don't go out on the streets and go find me what I need, then you're not going to make any money either, right? So they have to have the motivation when they get up, and they have to be willing to really put in the work. That's what it comes down to.
So now you become such a big-time investor that you actually employing other agents to look for properties for you. That's correct?
Yes.
Right. One of the things I wanted to mention, Ro, one of the things I wanted to mention, okay, one of the things I wanted to give like a step-by-step plan on how agents can actually become like what you and Basil have become and what I have become. And so one thing is to find the property, the next thing is to find the owner, the next thing is to run the numbers, the next thing is to negotiate the contract, and then find the buyer. And if they already have the buyer, which is you, Basil, or myself, or any of these investment companies, guess what? They can make the money. It's so simple. It's a simple process, right? Find the property, find the owner, run the numbers, negotiate the contract, and then we're here to buy the property. Right? So, Basil, what do you have to add? Ro has talked about, being 100% devoted to the industry, to the trade and integrity, and then working with other agents. What's the secret of success?
See, along the same lines, I strictly believe on the quote, your net work is your net worth, right? So, networking is the first and foremost most important thing if you really want to be successful at any business, because every business is social. Every business, except, of course, some B2B businesses, but every business is social. So I think that's where we really started from when we started making those connections with other people, which led to other people, which directly led to the banks. So, again, we feel very blessed. We've got direct contacts with the bank where we get these properties from. Most people don't have that access. However, there's no stopping there. I mean, MLS is the biggest source of properties. Every day I look at the MLS, any agent who looks at the MLS will find at least 35 to 40% of the inventory not being in good condition. Those are your properties. If there is a good property which is selling, for example, a well-done property in Oakland for $400,000, next door the property which is not in good condition, you're not going to find that for $375. It's going to be on the market for $325. Wait and see when the property sells. It'll sell between $300 and $325. That's the property that you need to go and secure. So my recommendation for the agents would be is that's how you begin. You look at the MLS. You find these kind of properties and simply do your numbers, strictly 70 cents on the dollar. There might be a little bit wiggle room here and there, but if the ARV is $400,000, then, somewhere along the lines of $280 to $300, depending on how much rehab is required, anybody would buy that property. And if you guys don't have investors who would come in, just like Paul said, you can come to me, you can go to Paul, you can go to Ro. We would love to fund these deals. This is what we fund. Just like Ro said, we've got agents who bring us these kind of deals all the time, and guess what? They make the commission out of it. So if somebody's bringing us 2 deals a month, which are $300,000 each, they're making $150,000 to $200,000 a year simply by doing this. How many clients do they have? One. It's just me, or it's just Paul, or it's just Ro. That's all it is. You don't even need to go and look for buyers. You don't even need to go and look for sellers. All you need to do is find these properties, and it's not hard. It's not hard. It's available out there. I can guarantee you every single city has a property like that. And where do you find that? Again, just on the MLS.
Right, exactly. To add to that, finding properties on the MLS, Ro, do you have other sources of finding properties besides the MLS? And I know that Basil did mention we're getting properties directly from the banks. Or is there another way, from your experience, that you getting properties?
Yeah, Paul, listen, there's many ways, right? There's sources out there. It's sometimes like Basil just said, come to us. Any agent, if you feel like this is what you want to do and you're tired of hitting the pavement, of going out and marketing, Basil made a very strong point. We will help teach where to source out these properties. We've done it before. There's a lot of ways of finding inventory today. There's guys I just talked to in New York who have bought some tape that they want to release at 80 cents on the dollar, and they bought a tape and they said, you know what, we don't want a deal in the northern Bay, California area. And how did I come to find out about this? Networking. Some other agent told me, that agent told them, they made some money somewhere, and they told me this, right? So, and it was quickly by picking up the phone and checking in how that person was doing. One thing I admire Basil for, if you sit in the car with Basil, right, and you're going somewhere, he doesn't waste any time. He's on his phone calling back, building rapport, calling clients. And in this business, you need to stay in communication with everybody. You want your client to remember you. It is your job to make sure your client and your agents and your source of inventory remembers you, and they don't remember, and you don't remember them, right? So they need to. And how do you do that? You have to send emails, send phone calls, and maybe share a deal with them or two, or teach them something. People have to like you in this business to really want to work with you, and you have to make it promising for them, because let's look at it like this. We all play in one big sandbox, and if everybody's winning in that sandbox, how much better do they feel? They're going to say, I want to work with Pacific Realty Partners. I want to go with those guys, Paul, Rowan, Bossel, because you know what? They helped me when I needed it, and they taught me something. And you know what? We knew more than them, and I like with these guys, and we're all made together, and we're successful.
We really think that real estate can be a strong vehicle to success, right? A strong vehicle to wealth creation, to financial independence. We were talking about how to source properties. You just talked about the MLS being the one big place that you can find properties. But you can also go on places like Craigslist. Roy just talked about, tapes and then buying properties directly from the banks. But you go on Craigslist, for example, just you, an agent today, listen, you go on Craigslist and you can look for properties for sale by owners or even for sale by brokers. Some brokers will list properties on Craigslist before they hit the MLS, right? And so you look for some special search words like handyman special, Aziz, fixer-upper, motivated seller, vacant property. There's so many ways to find properties. You can find properties by going on county websites, for example, for probates. Probates are there. That is a gold mine that a lot of people are not tapping into. Agents, if you are really starving today, you owe it to yourself, because you got people like we've been saying, Basil Rowe, myself, and all the investors that you can find. We're telling you to go to meetupgroups.com, right? And basically meetup.com and find investors there. There are many ways that you as an agent don't have to be poor in this market, don't have to be poor in America. How can you only make $34,900 a year? That is not good. That's not very good. But you can find properties. Another way you can find properties besides what we mentioned is by just driving around. You can drive around your neighborhood. You see some properties that are vacant, that are abandoned. You can find those properties, and you can find the owners. There are different ways to find owners by, talking to the neighbors, by sending postcards to houses that are vacant, by doing research on the title company websites, all these things. Now, you go to meetup groups. Go to meetup groups, the investor groups. There are people that want to sell properties. And another way that you can find properties easily, Mr. Agent, Mrs. Agent, Miss Agent, is actually by, you have those bandit signs all over the place right now. Those bandit signs that say what? We buy houses, cash. Those guys mostly are wholesalers. That means they will do all the negotiation for you, and they'll buy below wholesale. What does that mean? They'll buy below wholesale. They're buying properties below 70 cents on the dollar. We buy properties at 70 cents on the dollar. Those guys buy properties below 70 cents on the dollar because they need to tag on their wholesale price there. So you're an agent today, one major source, gold mine, if you haven't heard this before, is actually to go, and now as you drive around today, this Saturday, look for those bandit signs. They put them on electric poles and stuff like that. Look for those bandit sites, especially in places like Oakland, right? And you see them. We buy houses cash. But you don't even need to do that. Go online. Go online today and look. We buy houses cash, right? Those people are your major source for properties, right? So when you talk to those guys, and maybe they want to wholesale the property else, find out what are those things, right? Run the numbers, and then come and talk to Rob, to Basil, or myself. That's amazing. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to continue with my good friends here, Mr. Basil Yakub and Rohit Pathak. We're going to take a quick break for a few minutes.
Think you've seen everything there is to see in online television? Let us surprise you. Visit voiceamerica.tv today for sports, health, business, and more on demand 24/7.
you need directions to solid financial future? If so, the Money Answers Show with Jordan Goodman will provide you with a roadmap to making smart money decisions in every area of your personal finances. Join Jordan every Monday at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 3 p.m. Eastern for the Money Answers Show on the Voice America Business Channel. Learn how and where to get the best deals on mortgages, cars, and insurance. Find out the best ways to save for college and retirement, get out of debt, improve your credit rating, and save on your taxes. The Money Answers Show with Jordan Goodman will provide you with great tips on investment opportunities in real estate, stocks, annuities, and other investment vehicles. That's the Money Answers Show with Jordan Goodman on the Voice America Business Channel every Monday at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Are you an entrepreneur that wants to achieve more? Not just in it for profit, but to do work you find meaningful, that adds more value to more people in more ways? Listen for Be More, Achieve More, Inspiration for the Entrepreneurial Mind. With host Chris Cooper, you'll hear from successful achievers from around the world with the passion and experience to offer invaluable guidance. These people are making a difference and will help give you the motivation and insight to achieve more. Be More, Achieve More can be heard live Fridays at 8 a.m. U.S. Pacific Time on the Voice America Business Channel.
We're making it easier to listen to the Voice America Talk Radio Network live wherever you go on iPhone, BlackBerry, or Android. Download it from the Apple iTunes App Store, BlackBerry App World, or Android Market.
You are tuned in to Wealth Solutions for the 99% with Paul LaJoy. We'd love to hear from you on today's program. Please call in to 1-888-346-9141. That's 1-888-346-9141. Or email us at lajoysolutions@gmail.com. Now, back to Wealth Solutions for the 99%.
Wow, wealth solutions for the 99%. What a great topic. You see, we started the show today by talking about the background of both Roe and Basil. You know, they talked about their parents coming here and things were hard. They were part of the 99%. These guys were part of their family was part of the 99%. And now they're not. Really. Because you're making more than $500,000 a year, you're not part of the 99%. Really, you see? So because it's easier on the top, at the top than at the bottom. Really, it's much easier. It's easier to be rich than to be poor. And so that's we want you, Mr. Agent, Miss Agent, as you're listening, we want you to get to, well, the food chain right there as the source of the supply. Supply of what? Properties. And supply of what? Money. Supply of properties and supply of money. If you are at the source of the supply chain, you will never, ever be poor. See, for example, people that control oil, the Saudis control oil, the OPEC countries control oil. And guess what? Those guys will not be poor. People who are the source of technology, like people who started Google, people who started Facebook, these guys will never be poor. Did you know, at one point I talked about the Gang of Eight, those guys who started PayPal. Right? And the same guys who started Facebook, they started YouTube, they started LinkedIn, they started Tesla. The Gang of Eight. See, you want to be at the source of supply. Okay? The head of a food chain, not the bottom. And that's why we have this program. And we want to share these nuggets with you. So, guys, my book talks about 12 ways to make money in real estate. And we talk about short sales, REOs, we talk about trustee sales. What are you guys concentrated on?
Everything.
I think, when as an agent you are looking for properties to invest on, it does not matter whether it's a regular sale, short sale, or a bank-owned property. Of course, yes, short sales and bank-owned properties are most of the times, or at least used to most of the times, be priced at a level where you where you don't need to negotiate much. As the market goes up, that becomes harder and harder and harder. However, there are ways, right? I mean, even today, short sales come on the market. For example, I have a personal story about I've got a property in Fremont. We started that deal 2 years ago. And 2 years ago, we started that deal around the $400,000 mark. Mm-hmm. Today, the bank, same exact property, the bank comes back and asks for $600,000. Mm. How does that happen? Of course, the market goes up. And now the banks are also demanding higher and higher money. However, it's all about negotiating. You go back, you negotiate the price, and you get it done. And banks will let it go. Banks have to let go. They cannot hold on to properties. You go to any bank-owned property today, which has more than a 30-day DOM or a 60-day days on the market, they will negotiate with you. I can almost guarantee that because I've done it myself. You go to Fannie Mae, you go to Wells Fargo, Bank of America, they are pricing it higher these days. But you can go back and you can negotiate the terms. But to answer your question, yes, Rose said it right. Everything: short sales, regular sales, probate sales, and REOs.
Yeah, we talked about how to find properties, but how you guys basically you did not start with you said Basil, you said you were not born with a gold spoon in your mouth, right? But all of a sudden now you talk about agents bringing you properties. Rose talk about agents bringing in properties. Obviously, you did not just go to the bank and they gave you like a huge line of credit. I mean, how did you find investor partners or equity partners? How can you share? What can you share with agents?
Sure. So I was fresh out of high school when I was doing this. When I started into the real estate game, I had $0 in savings. My first investor was my dad. He used every single thing that he had, and I still remember after the sale of his restaurant, we had netted about $48,000. That's the base money that I had started with, and this was back, I believe, in 2009. That is what we started with. Just like you say, right, Paul? When you succeed, the whole world conspires you to succeed. So I think I'm a prime example of that. When I started doing the first one, other investors came in, other people came in and saw what I was doing, and of course lent a help. I had investors at that time who were coming in and saying, hey, you know what, I want to do this with you. Here's $100,000. What can we do? I did not go crazy with it. I still don't spend money like crazy. But, I think they were the first ones who really had faith in me, and that's how I started. But you know what? Personally, I would say I started with OPM, other people's money. I had zero money on my own on those properties because at that time I didn't have it.
Great. Ro, basically you started with your own savings, right? And as Basil said, when you succeed, the whole world conspires to see you succeed even more. And we don't have much time to elaborate on that. But you started your own savings. I remember when you joined us, basically we did one property in Hayward, and your investment there was $75,000. Then you made like $37,000 in a very short time. Then what happened after that? Now you are making a killing, and the whole program is talking about these agents. This you guys making a killing today. How did that happen? It just crescendoed. Can you elaborate a little bit more?
Yeah, so that was actually my. If I look at the starting point, we did a property in Oakland, and we learned a lot from some of these projects. And that second one we did opened my eyes. And when I went back and I kind of showed my paycheck to other individuals who were in my inner circle, right, and they were really shocked. Starting from one of my closest clients. To a friend who wanted to get into real estate, to even my father. And then I had another uncle that said, here, if I give you this much money, what could you do with it? Like Basil said, is that, when you have other people's money, you don't want to go crazy. But, we are financially educated in this business, and this is all we know. And so we make very conservative steps. And so, the line just started lining up, with investors that came and said, hey, I'm only making X amount on this financial vehicle. Can you help me? And you have to really educate them on what kind of business this is. But it is very rewarding. And I think the door is unstoppable. It just keeps opening, and it's not going to close if you do it the right way.
That's just amazing, right? Because people are making, 1%. The other day I went to one bank here that I bank at, 1% CD for 10 years. 10 years. That's appalling. And they have all the investment vehicles, like you mentioned, 401k, IRA, and other things that are not generating. And then they see how much you are able to generate. I mean, you guys invest in what? In trustee sales, in short sales, and they see the returns. And man, they're astounded by that. No wonder they're hooked. Let me ask you guys a question. Now you got all these people that are they're seeing that the returns in real estate are much better than returns elsewhere. Do you have unlimited capital? Do you not have unlimited capital that you're telling agents to bring you all deals?
I would say amongst three of us, yes. Why not? Right? I think if the deal makes sense, we now have a track record at this point. The three of us, where if it's a $10 million deal and there's tremendous amount of upside, we can fund it. The agents need to come sit with us, figure out what our business model is. We'll help them hold their hand, and we have the ability to not just fund. We can also go to our lending partners and get leverage and do different other financial vehicles that can help close deals.
Again, you can use OPM, right? I mean, other people's money. So, yeah, just to answer your question, absolutely. I mean, if a deal makes sense, we'll fund it. It doesn't matter what the size of the deal is. It just needs to fit a certain criteria. And as you get higher and higher and higher in price, of course, you expect more and more and more. That's just natural. So, yeah, I mean, any deal that comes in on the plate that makes sense, we definitely always fund it.
So, are you guys only concentrated in the Bay Area, or are you doing deals out of the Bay Area now?
I myself am, I consider myself West Coast and East Coast. Majority of the deals that I fund and I work on, is Sacramento, Bay Area, and Los Angeles, so pretty much the entire state of California. And then I just started out East Coast. Washington, D.C. was recently named one of the hottest places to flip, and I just started my first investment out there to test the market.
How about you, Ray?
I'm actually Northern California, kind of a California spoiled guy. Love California, love the weather, so totally in tune with what's going on here. But I've kind of dabbled myself and built some boots on the ground in the Midwest. So we're playing anywhere from Indianapolis to Arkansas to Ohio to Memphis, Tennessee, and now we're slowly, Boswell and I are working our way to getting into Texas. So we're growing little by little, and again, the key is to really understand markets, local markets, because every market, what's going on in Fremont and San Francisco today is essentially not really happening in Sacramento, and you have to understand Sacramento. So we are educating ourselves to understand the demographics, the geographics, working with Chamber of Commerce, understanding just the whole economic driving point of each city. That way we can be successful in those cities like we are in the Bay Area.
So let's say there's an agent listening to this right now, and there's several of them that are, and they want to start. Where do you start? Where's the starting point?
I think starting point is again finding that property. Just go on the MLS, take a look at these properties, or drive around, look at vacant properties. Just bring it to us. We'll help you find the owner. There's a full and complete support system that we can offer. So you find that property, make sure it fits in somewhere around the 70% on the dollar mark, and then bring it to us. As I said, as long as the deal makes sense, we will fund it, no matter what the size is.
And I think you've also made a very strong point that we have a strong support system. So we will take out the time to talk with you. If you are very interested in, if an agent is very interested in getting into something like this, take some time out, give us a call. We will work with you. We will teach you what we're looking for, understand our criteria, and then you can go out and go search so you're not spinning your wheels.
So lastly, what is the hottest market right now in the Bay Area? Because you guys mentioned that, you are mostly concentrated in Northern California. What's the hottest market? What's the hottest city right now?
I think it's San Francisco. Properties, pretty much properties sell everywhere without even being put on the MLS. It sells before it's even done. However, San Francisco, I would say, is the hottest market because of the returns. 30-40% in 6 months. Don't care what you tell me, you can't get there anywhere. You can't get that anywhere else. 30 to 40% in 6 months means you can almost double your money in a year. That's absolutely crazy, but that's reality.
Wow. Yeah. Well, I understand a lot of people are moving to into San Francisco, but they don't have enough properties. That's amazing that just a few years ago, that market was tanking too, and today it's just gone up a lot. Ro, any parting words?
I think, let me get my thoughts together. I was still on the San Francisco part. I was about to comment that I think Balso makes a very strong point, and I was reading an article about Palo Alto, and if you guys know, Palo Alto was a very strong market for some time. And it looks like San Francisco is where the money is being driven, and that's where it's all being allocated. There's a lot of interest towards San Francisco, and I think it is if you can get in, and there's agents out there looking to maybe kind of do what we're doing or get in with us, we would be more than happy to engage in a conversation to actually dabble into the San Francisco market.
Okay, we're running out of time right now. As we know, San Francisco, the square footage is very, very small. I mean, more people are attracted to San Francisco. You have all these high-tech companies like Twitter and all those companies moving out there, but guess what? The square footage in San Francisco is not big enough. So what's happening is San Franciscans are moving to Oakland. And so I've seen Oakland being one of the prime investment capitals of America, if not the first one right now. So that's pretty good. Thank you so much for joining the show today. I thank you guys for being on the show today with me.
You're welcome. Great to be here.
All right, cool. So, guys, you heard it. Okay, if you've been listening to it, thank you for listening. If you want to find out more information about us, go to LaJoySolutions.com or simply PaulLaJoy.com. And tell your friends. Every Saturday we broadcast here, what can we do for America? What can we do for you? What can you do for your relatives, your colleagues? We want you to create wealth and lasting relationships. This has been Paul LaJoy. Until next week, have a great weekend.
Thank you again for listening to Wealth Solutions for the 99%. Please join Paul LaJoy again next Saturday at 10 a.m. Pacific Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Time on Voice America Business as we continue to help you build your personal wealth.
Thanks again for listening to the preceding program brought to you on the Voice America Business Channel. For more information about our network and to check out additional show hosts and topics of interest, please visit voiceamericabusiness.com. The Voice America Talk Radio Network is the worldwide leader in live Internet talk radio. Visit voiceamerica.com. The views and ideas expressed on the preceding program are strictly those of the host or guests and do not necessarily reflect the views and ideas held by the Voice America